Hello, this week we're going to be discussing Lee Cronin's The Mummy. Is it a visceral horror masterclass or should this monster have stayed 6 feet under? Let's unwrap it. Hello all, welcome to Middle Age Geeks. I'm Phil, that is Daz, and this week we're doing Lee Cronin's The Mummy. This is nothing to do with the Brendan Fraser malarkey, so if that's what you're here for, don't worry about it. Something completely different, which is why I think they had to put it and call it Lee Cronin's The Mummy. So, look, for those of you who are new, we're going to do a very spoiler-free discussion through it, and then we'll have a few little spoilers at the end, but we'll give you warning. So, Daz, man, before I get into it, I'll just do a bit of a synopsis and a little bit about the movie and then get your initial thoughts. So, synopsis is after their young daughter Katie vanishes in the Egyptian desert, a broken family relocates to New Mexico to heal. 8 years later, Katie's miraculously found alive inside a sealed sarcophagus, but the joy of her return turns to terror as a parasitic ancient curse begins to rot the family from the inside out. This one...
It's really well worded.
Yeah.
Well worded.
This is writer-director Lee Cronin. People might know him from Irish director. Might know him from Evil Dead Rise. The main cast is Jack Rayner, Leia Costa, Callum Maui, and Natalie Grace, who plays Katie, the mummy. A cinematographer, Dave Garbett. And then I'm going to mention the sound guys. So sound editor Peter Albrechtson and composer Stephen McKeown, because the sound plays such a big part, and we'll get into that as. And I suppose one last thing is just to mention the budget. It's cost around somewhere between 25 and 30, and it's already made 34. Like in the first 3 days, it's doing well. So yeah, Des, give me your initial thoughts on this one.
Going into this one, I was absolutely terrified because I'd heard so many things about it being like uber creepy, and as much as it's a kind of a titled The Mummy and Lee Cronin's The Mummy, it is really kind of demon child traumatizes family horror wrapped up, pun intended, as a mummy movie. And I hate movies like that. I hate how, whether they're good or bad, just demon kind of babies possessed or kids. I just fucking hate them. So yeah, this one was a weird one because on one hand there's a lot to like, a lot that I loved really, like in terms of, we touched on it there with the sound design and camera work and cinematography and makeup and so many really fantastic things. The movie's really well made and looks gorgeous. But I think what I liked about it is all kind of superficial and surface level, as the main aspects of it in terms of story and plot I thought were a bit of a mess. On one hand, I think it wants to be that gore fest of the year, or, the creepiest movie, or, whatever, get all those kind of plaudits, and it succeeds in that in most regards. But it just felt like a succession of scenes fit for that purpose. And we'll get into it, but mainly I thought there was awful characters and baffling choices and horror movie cliche after cliche. So I was a little bit disappointed in the end. How about yourself?
Yeah, similar. Like, it's very much, I agree bang on with you, Daz, about the type of movie. Like, it's called The Mummy, sure, but this is more like The Exorcist. Like, it's way more like that. And yeah, they jump into so many of the tropes, and some are nods, some just seem like straight up, come on, this is in every one of these books. The guy comes into the classroom and meets the professor. Like, that's how many fucking movies has that been in? But
where did you get these?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it's a puzzling one because of it's so lopsided. I found, like, the first one, the whole start of the movie, like, first of all, it's too long, but the whole start is like that it builds up to, and then once it hits that gory action thing, it's pretty relentless in that. But it takes a good hour or so before we actually get into that, and it doesn't really know what it's trying to do. Like, is it trying to be a complicated, keep it kind of eerie, or is it over the top violent? Even if he hadn't directed Evil Dead, I would have said there was so many nods towards Evil Dead in this because of the way it gets with some of the gore and stuff like that. But yeah, I think it's absolutely gorgeous though, man. I thought it was just
it's amazing,
fantastic. And I think this is a lot of it comes down to, I imagine, is the fact that he works with all these people on the regular. He's worked with other movies, and I just thought, I thought it was just to the point where I think I texted you afterwards saying, it's the sound design is just, they're having a field day with it. As great as it was, sometimes it was a little bit imposing. It was a little bit much, even for me. But look, let's do what we always do, and we kind of start with the performances, because like we're asking, like, I think that we're asking, I suppose, the mummy obviously is this young girl, Natalie Grace, who I thought was wonderful as the mummy. I think we'll just start with her because she was great, and I think they chose her because she had like a a background in musical theater and stuff like that. So all those ticks and all those movements, like she did all, she was able to do those all herself, and so many of her stunts were her doing them. And I thought that she was great. Like, what is she paying? Like what's this, 16, 17-year-old kid or younger, probably, whatever. Like, and I thought that she was just wonderful, proper creepy kind of vibe to it. Like, really, really enjoyed her. Did you? Because that's the first thing I think first major motion picture that she's been in, because it even came up and said, introducing Natalie Grace as thing. So what did you think of her?
Yeah, just fantastic, and in so many kind of ways, in so many guises. Because at the very beginning, when the time jump and she gets kind of found again, it's all to do with just stillness and looks. And there's an amazing shot where she's just looking kind of catatonic in the bed, and the grandmother is saying a prayer or something, and she just moves her eyes from looking nowhere, just looking over to the granny, but her eyes move, but it's like something has changed. So the eyes key to the soul, and there's something weird and dark in that fucking soul. And straight away there, you're just going, oh wow, you're fucking. It reminded me of like Late Night with the Devil, with this just creepy, just the ease that somebody can terrify the audience with just a look to camera or to somebody, and that was amazing. And she gets to do a lot more physical stuff later on. The creepiness kind of goes away when it gets a bit batshit crazy.
Of course,
nonsense, which we'll get into. But her physical performance, you could just feel the kind of the cricks or the tension in her arms and face, and just a lot of that's married with the sound design. But she was ticked all the boxes in terms of scaring the absolute shit out of me by doing nothing. Just looking fucking creepy.
Yeah, I guess we could go from her, great performance, to what I didn't enjoy. I thought that the lead, he was supposed to be, I guess, the dad, the lead, Jack Rayner. I was not a fan of his performance or character. I didn't know, like, character was so underwritten, like they kind of want to pitch him as this kind of reporter and sort of journalist, but then that kind of goes pretty much by the wayside. He says that he cares about his family, doesn't really seem to care that much. Like there's shit going on when he's like, trying to sort the puzzle, and there's fucking racket on his ears. He's kind of like, oh no, that is
what's that trashing around in that mummified daughter's room? Well, probably nothing.
Back to what I was doing. Fuck that. Like, and it's. Yeah, I just wasn't a fan, man. What did you think of him? Because I thought, for someone who's supposed to be going through so much grief and trauma, he just felt like all this insane shit happened around him. He just didn't really seem like he was reacting properly to it.
But yeah, I think that's him, and that's pretty much all the rest of the family, bar like the grandmother gets a couple of scenes, and you're just like, okay, she's religious or whatever. But everyone else is just this vapid, like, it's just, there's nothing to any of them. I just kind of dislike them for no particular reason, just because, well, they're baffling character choices and all that, but there's just nothing to them. The family, that we'll get into the lack of reactions of people to things that are happening in this fucking movie, as you just alluded to there with the dad. But yeah, all of them, like he just kind of nothing to the character. It's like you're kind of invested a little bit at the start, because when it starts and your daughter being kidnapped or something like that, there is this sense of kind of loss, and I think it starts that way with the tonally. It's a lot more serious, and you're kind of buying into the characters a little bit. But the minute the daughter's found, like, I just didn't buy anything he was doing or his choices, or and performance wise, like he's trying his best, but he was really good in what Richard did, but then he was in Transformers, and I don't think he's that great of an actor. But he really, for a movie so long, 2 hours and 15 minutes or something, where himself and the mother are given a lot of screen time, they don't really, like, you don't buy into them at all. Like, you're not really invested in their story at all, which is kind of baffling, right?
Yeah, I thought so. I think, like, there was more character, I felt, in the youngest daughter, Maud. Is it Maud? I thought she was great little actor. What, she's like 8 years old or something like that. Yeah. And like, I was actually enjoying her performance when she was on. I was like, this is supposed to be you, Jack Rayner. You're supposed to be the one that taking a hold of this. You're the main guy trying to get to the bottom of this mystery about your daughter. Whereas the most interesting is the little fucking kid, which was kind of, so.
But like there's a scene when the mother or Jack and or the parents, where they get a videotape and they're watching videotape, whatever. And there's no dialogue in that scene, but they look kind of distressed, and you feel that kind of sadness, whatever. And there's no dialogue, and that's like 40 seconds, and you're kind of going, oh, that's that's a scene where you're getting me to actually kind of care about them and what they're doing. But it's 40 seconds, and that's towards the end of the movie. But all the preceding hour and a half up to that point it's just, I just didn't care what happened to them, which I'm guessing in the movie you kind of should. Like, you should care if they live or die.
Like, I wasn't even on their side. We'll get into the spoiler section when we get to the the end of it. Like, but I wasn't even on their side. But like, I think, as you've said, as like we can move on, I think, for the performances, because as much as I hate to say it, Leigh Costa and May Kalamaui, their characters just were not developed at all. There's no like, why is May, who's the Egyptian cop detective, they don't say why she's such a hard ass, bitch or whatever. Like, she just, there's nothing really background in her. She's just, she's this dude's second in command, and now she's in charge. But there's barely anything about her and her background, why she is the way she is. There's a weird scene with her eating, and it's not really sure what it's there for. Like, she's eating a fucking zaytun or whatever the fuck she's eating, and like, I don't know. It's just, I'm like, is that supposed to be one of her character traits, that she's always doing that? Why is she just doing it once? And that would have been an interesting thing to have some interplay about her and her office, other guys in PlayStation, but it was just that one dude, and then off she goes. I wasn't really into that at all. So, like, why don't we just jump onto some of the technical stuff? Because I think this is where this kind of shines a little bit more. Like, if you look, let's say we do cinematography, this is Dave Garbutt, and he shot Evil Dead with Lee Cronin, and like, that's why they have this kind of real dark lighting, and that shot does that. I don't know how they do it. It's called a split diopter. Yeah, that shot. Like, I love those, man. I love when they do those in movies, and it's just, there's a few of those where she's right up and she's the focus, and you can see her eyes and her flesh and stuff like that, and then you just see what's going on in the background. I love those. I was a big fan of a lot how this was shot and how it linked up with the music as well,
And everything comes together beautifully in some of those moments, like the cinematography and that set, that house is absolutely gorgeous. And like, obviously that split diopter where they're using that. But that's something that used to be used loads in the 70s, like your favorite film, Jaws, and Carrie, and all these movies. And it's not so much done these days, but it's such an effective use. To really, obviously you get two things in focus at different distances, but it's off-putting because it's not how you naturally perceive movies on the screen. It's like, whoa, and it works so well in her and really well in this. But some of the shots in the house, it's these incredible wide-angle anamorphic lenses that just, the scope of them is just fantastic. You really get a sense of the setting and the scene, and the sound design and the music, and some gorgeous shots that. There are moments where cinematography and everything, all that came together, and it hinted at a movie it hinted at a better movie. A scene, let's say, just where I think the daughter is just going to the bathroom, and the camera just slowly just follows the daughter into the bathroom, and she stays in there, and the camera just stays there, and then she comes out, and it kind of comes back, and it's all like creepy and like motivated movement and confident. And it reminded me of something like Hereditary, where the camera is just no cuts, it's just moving around, and you're just looking around the frame going, am I going to fucking see something? But that was just a fleeting glimpse at the confidence that the crew and director and everything had, but it just didn't show itself for the rest of the movie.
It's such a shame. Like, it really does look amazing. Like, I think that they deserve their prowess as filmmakers deserved a much better script and story. Like, you could have just gotten and said, fuck it, forget the whole mummy thing. Just forget the mummy side of it, throw that in the bin, and we'll just make a fucking thing about a creepy ass child. There's many movies with people with creepy ass child. People will always go and see it. Creepy ass children are creepy as fuck, and that's why.
Yeah, it was just found in the woods or something.
Yeah,
like kind of all catatonic, something like that. It's just
exactly. She's gone. They found her, and she's after gone feral. You don't have to mention the whole mummy, because once you get into the mummy stuff, you have to explain all the Egyptian background, why they were in Egypt in the first place, all that stuff.
Yeah,
to like a character that isn't really a fucking mummy. Anyway,
I know. Yeah, it's just a creepy kid stuck in a sarcophagus.
I mentioned that at the intro about the what you call the sound, and I think that this plays a massive part. Like the Albertson, Peter Albertson, who worked with again on the Evil Dead, he was talking about how much Cronin loves putting the sound into his movies, real visceral kind of sound, and they spent like months making that real wet. I think they kind of describe it as wet sound. So it's all the skin when it's been slopped off, and bones breaking. Everything has this real wet. So it almost reminded me a little bit of when we were describing Smile 2, when Lucas Gage character is just snapping at you, get that real wet thumping and stuff.
Yeah.
It's really, really like it. But the thing is, as much as I thought that was great, I felt that after a while, once I noticed it, that so early on, everything was just like the Foley artist going on overdrive. It was so much that, but towards as I was getting later on in the movie, I was like, this is actually a bit much. And that's a lot for me to say that, because obviously I love that kind of stuff, but I found it a bit much. What about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, seeing it in the cinema, I think a lot of that effect of the sound would be lost if you're at home watching it on TV, which is a shame. But like if it's late at night, maybe you'll be watching or listening on headphones. Yeah, sound design was amazing. It does. It gets turned up to 11. A little bit too much towards the end. It's a bit fucking crazy, but there's just like peeling skin off, and it's just, again, it's the sound design, but it's with that like ridiculously like macro lens towards the early parts of the movie. That kind of worked because it was slightly unsettling, but the word parts towards the end, you're just going, all right, Jesus, just give us a fucking break here. It's just everything has got a really fucking crazy, as you're saying, wet sound to it. But it was, I'd say a Foley artist asked to do a toenail horror scene or something, they're probably like, yes, fucking please, let's go. I got a bank of fucking audio files for that. Just, it works really creepy at times, and there's bits when she's doing something with her jaw, kind of Morse code, just kind of crackling her jaw. It's very unnerving, but it was a little bit overbearing towards the end, but that's more because the whole movie gets turned up to 11 a bit.
Well, and probably because you were here, like it's over 2 hours long as well, I suppose as well on the sound front, the composer Stephen Kyoto, again, another guy who's worked with Lee Cronin, like he behind the, what did they call it? He called it a rotting orchestra concept. So like it's the whole idea that the traditional instruments and uses that, and then they digitally downgrade them, so it sounds like the music sound in the movie is like decaying as it goes on. So you've got these normal artists are playing this great normal tune that you're hearing, and then they digitally make it sound worse or sound just gross and falling apart. And I think that's great. Cool. Like, especially because he's doing it along between the sound design and Lee Cronin, and it's really the whole lot of it works together. Sometimes we talk about the soundtrack, as you say, just being sound pack one, and it's just action movie pack one. This is very, very deliberate and really works, as the house is getting creepier and creepier as it goes on with all the shit that's happening, and it does feel like the music is really pulling you in there as well, and that's another part of the good side of it, I think. I suppose the only other thing I wanted to talk about is the effects. I very much appreciated that there was limited CGI in this. Like, there is so much practical effects going on in this movie. And again, that's what we expect from an Evil Dead movie. And you'll see that he's done Evil Dead Rise previously. That's what we want, like real tactile stuff. You really want to see like that bone cracking, skin peeling that you were talking about, Daz. Like, you really want to see that. Like the real gross out moments, puking and all stuff coming up. I want to see all that, I want to see all this fucking shit.
I want real puke.
Yeah, like, I mean, I'm not going to give any spoilers right now, but for those of you who haven't seen it yet, there is a lot of stuff with teeth that's really, really difficult to watch. I found any of that crunching teeth stuff. Oh,
yeah, man.
I remember I think the first movie I saw that in was Itchy the Killer. You ever seen that movie?
Yeah.
And there's this dude puts, he puts spikes through the cheek, but he could hear it grinding into his teeth, and it's got, mother of God, I remember just squirming, and it was like that watching this. It's just like anything with that teeth cracking for some reason really does it for me. Maybe it's because I've broken my teeth so many times, I don't know. But what did you think? Because I thought for the most part it was great until when we got to the part where she's really moving around, because sometimes some of that fast, her tearing around stuff, she's not quite doing that. Like, that's, like walking on ceilings, all that kind of stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's when I think the CGI got it. Because it just looked a bit blurry. It was kind of hard to keep track of her.
Yeah, it's kind of motion blur, and it maybe obviously that's from a lack of a budget point of view. But I didn't really notice that too much because...
No, not a massive amount, no.
No, but that's more so because at that point in the movie, you're kind of wondering what the fuck are the rules around this. That's my main issue with superhero movies, supernatural movies, where it's just like, what are the rules? Like, what's the powers with this? Like, she's at one point she's walking on the ceiling, and then later on, all she can do is just kind of creep along the ground slowly while shouting obscenities, and just like, but then you're also telepathic, telekinetic. You can fucking levitate, force fucking push people through windows. Just like, what the fuck is going on? So yeah, I didn't know CGI because I was just baffled, just going, what is fucking going on with this movie.
Like I said, it's really kept to a minimum. I think for the most part, it really kept it looking great. Because sometimes you you're almost looking for that kind of thing. You're so used to it, seeing it. But I think for this, it was so much practical work. I really, really enjoyed it. I think almost that's it for the spoiler-free section, Daz. What do you think?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's give it a star rating.
Yeah, let's give it a star rating. What would you put on this one?
I don't know. I was like, it's not quite a 3. I would say probably 2.5 for me, because I enjoyed decent amounts of it. But as a movie, I think it was a bit of a mess. And rather than being scared, I was more baffled watching it, which is saying something for me, who's scares ridiculously easy.
I'm actually thinking the same. I was going to say 2.5, and that's because when I was leaving it and I was thinking more about it over the last couple of days, I was thinking about, do you know when a game or something is released and it's a showcase for what we can do rather than the actual thing itself? You're going like the story or whatever it is. Tech demo. That's kind of what it felt like. It was like, look at all this cool shit. We have the skills and knowledge to do and our work as a team. It's so great. And you're like, but the substance behind it is just, story is terrible, the script and dialogue are terrible, which is such a shame, because this is a very skilled group of people, and he's obviously a good director, but maybe not the best writer. Sorry about that.
Or editor.
But like, it's always great though, just to be able to review a movie that's like written and directed by an Irish guy. There's so many Irish people on it throughout the crew. It was filmed not too far from you, Daz. Another one filmed in Ardmore Studios. Well, there, and also in New Zealand, Morocco. So despite being Egypt, nothing was filmed in Egypt. Yeah. But yeah, I thought like it's always great to be able to review something like that. And it is, like, for those of you at home, the fact we're giving it 2.5, I would still recommend checking it out. If not in the cinema, definitely when it comes on streaming. And rumor is that it's not getting a very long theatrical release. So just release. Yeah. So I mean, it won't be long before it's on Amazon or whatever. You can check it out. So look, if you're leaving us there, thank you very much for sticking around. Do all the liking and subscribing and all that good stuff. And we will see you on the next one. If you're hanging around, we're just going to talk a little bit about spoilers and before we finish up. So yeah, Daz, I mentioned at the very start that I wasn't on their side, right? I get that the neighbor had to curse little what's her face, little Katie. Okay, I get that they had to do. I know she did it but like, they're making it that she's this horrible bad guy, and I get it's a horrible thing that she's done. But the whole thing is to try and stop this horrible being from being released into the world. And she's like, it's our family secret. So their whole family have taken this burden on. And this is like what did they say it was? The 80 fucking million bleeding time they've done. 83rd different person that they've done it to. And this is, they're trapping this thing within a soul inside a sarcophagus, and they do it every so often, and they're putting their lives on the line as well, because each time you open this thing, you don't know what's going to happen. You look at her husband who got killed, you don't know what's going to happen, or her brother or whoever it was, but like, it's not a burden anybody would want. And now, yes, it's horrible that they're going outside the family to get their people, but you can see her, she's apologizing to Katie. It's not something, she's not evil, it's not what she wants to do. So at the end of it, when they decide, okay, Jack Rayner isn't actually gone, we're now going to transfer the demon back and get it back. It's like, well, was there any fucking risk then? The only person that's died is the granny. Like, that's it. By the way, her death was awesome.
Nobody dies in the movie.
Her lying on the ground, getting her guts eaten while she's still alive. Awesome.
That's one of the best sequences.
Yeah. But I was like, but they're bringing in, I was like, oh, you're just a couple of bad guys, and one of you is a cop. Like, the two. One is a cop, she's going to, and like, yeah, I wasn't on their side. There was no one in there. I was on the bad guy's side. I was on the mummy side. Kill them all. Fuck them.
But it's the gaps and lack of absolute logic in this movie that just baffles me beyond belief. Firstly, their kid is found alive, and it's brilliant. She's been in a sarcophagus. Okay, it's cool. Doctor somehow tells them that no, the best place is to take her home. Not to stay with doctors or medical practitioners or people to study her or anything like that. No, she probably needs to go home. But the doctor tells the parents, be careful now, be prepared for what you're going to see. No loud noises, no quick movements, whatever. Just, take her home and blah, blah, blah. And what do? They back her up the stairs in her wheelchair one level at a time. Bang, bang, bang.
Why just one of them go with the front?
What are you doing?
Like, they're both pulling a handle, each pulling her backwards. One of you go and grab her and lift her. Whereas the son is standing there doing nothing. The granny's doing nothing. It was bizarre.
It's the most violent way to take somebody up 3 flights of fucking stairs you've ever seen in your life. Just like the dad, just pick her up and carry her up the fucking stairs. That's a perfect example of this movie. It's just, that's happening so that They can dial up the sound design, have a laugh and stuff. It's just like, look at this cool thing, but it makes no sense that this would actually happen ever. And it's just like, but it's just
so awkward.
It's fit for purpose. But like, the best one is I'm dying to just talk about the funeral wake scene, which just as a scene, you just go, this is mental. But it's like before that, the granny's been fucking force pushed out the window and just hilarious, brilliant. Like she dying for her to die, fucking. But in the funeral scene, just like suddenly, this the coffin's there, and suddenly you just have Katie just walking around on the roof, and it's like, oh my god, she comes down, eventually bites the fucking grandmother, and she falls out of the coffin, licking her blood on the ground. Everyone starts puking. But before that, the other sister, who's now been possessed, who's ripped out all her teeth, grabbed the dead grandmother's teeth, put them in her mouth, turned around to her parents, smiled at her parents. Parents go, what the fuck? And then she goes and bites somebody's fucking ear off, and it's like, what the fuck is happening? But then the next scene, they're just like sitting in a room, and the daughter says something. They're just like, no, be quiet, or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, why is no one reacting to what just happened in the fucking house? Get out of the fucking house.
How did no one notice this kid was sitting there pulling their teeth out? Like, because she spits a bunch of blood onto these like deviled eggs or whatever, and other people are picking them up and eating them. So did you notice, first of all, that they're covered in blood? There's a child sitting there pulling her own teeth out. Like, but I love that. That scene when she puts the fucking false teeth in and she just looks up at them and smiles. That is brilliant.
Absolutely brilliant. But just like, why in the next scene they're just acting like she's just grounded or something? Just like, like there's something wrong with your child and your other kid who like, everyone's just like, no, she needs to stay in the house. There's no one go, let's get the fuck out of here. Let's get this kid out of here. Has anyone seen a mummy movie or something? She's fucking weird. Like oh my God.
I'd love to see how they got her from the hospital in Egypt back to Albuquerque, because there's got to be a couple of connecting flights. I'd love to see her sitting in economy class, like just it's just Hannah's looking yoke. And then at the same time, how did they get Jack Rayner as a mummy dude? How did they get him back to Egypt? Some mad shit going on here. But like,
it's just the gaps in logic are like astounding. Yeah. But even like the cop at the end, when like she's watched this videotape but she has memorized this entire ritual. Just like, wow. So at the end, she just recites the ritual, and they set all this up and they put this all in motion for this to happen. Like, how do you know that's actually going to work? Like, how do you know it doesn't have to be a family member? It's just...
Oh, by the by, her thing, because she's after having this reason she can't speak is because the scorpion has gone through her throat and stuck its fucking tail out here, and she has to pull the thing out, but when she has to stick her finger in her throat
to talk.
To talk. Oh, right. It's like it's right in at her vocal cords, whatever. Oh, that was awesome. Yeah, I'm a big fan of that. I think the only thing I know her from is I think she was in The Punisher. I'm pretty sure she was in The Punisher. I'm already sure how else I know her from.
But just when like a thing on tone as well, the way it starts off, and it's all the movie takes itself way too seriously, and then towards the end it really goes fucking full Evil Dead, where you're just going, did Lee Cronin just want to make an Evil Dead, another one? And someone said no, and he went, all right, fuck it, the mummy, Evil Dead mummy, because like the powers that this fucking mummy has, like I'm saying, like lifting up the grandmother and fucking him out the window, fucking her out the window. To then later on, Jack Rayner's trying to get away from her, and she can just crawl around and like, oh, you bitch, or whatever, you're never getting your daughter back. And just like, what happened to the levitating telekinesis? Like, where's that now? And then when Jack Rayner is holding her down, she's just flapping.
She reanimated
like
the granny. Remember, the granny comes back and she's there lifting the skirt, her leg up the skirt, and going, hey, you want to eat your fucking mother-in-law's minge or whatever. It was just like fucking, it was just, what the fuck? She's reanimating dead people and giving them a personality of their own. It's mad.
Yeah, it's just a bit silly towards the end, but it's just so many scenes that like there's every time it's like a perfect example of a script where it's like, and then this happened, and then she goes out the window. Oh, and then there's this in the funeral on the wall. Somebody bites somebody and kills somebody, and it's like there's just scenes missing in between of just like, how did you go from that scene to that scene? How did you deal with the fact that your daughter just fucking pulled all her teeth out? Like, why don't we see you talking to her and going like, what the fuck is going up with you? Yeah, Very strange for a movie that's long. It's that long anyway. And you kind of go,
I think so. Yeah, there's easily a good half hour to 40 minutes you could cut out of this. And just as I said for the start, it doesn't even need to be a money mummy movie, but it is what it is. And yeah, we both given it a 2.5. I think that's a fair enough score. It's enjoyable enough to watch from, especially the second half of it. From second half is more fun with regards to gore and all the rest of it, but it is just really technically well shot, well done. Thanks very much for sticking with us. We will see you next week. Keep on doing like and subscribe and all that good stuff. Look after each other, and good luck. Bye.